April 25th, 2015. You're looking at the Himalaya Mountains on the northern border of India. Now, near Nepal, a lot of people have been killed by this morning's quake. We had a large 7.8. You're looking at an aftershock of 6.6 and probably a dozen more in that area. But the timing is important here because CERN was cranking up and running at very high power at this point. You see this 7.8? It was at 15 kilometers depth. Now the 6.6 was at 14.7, so very close to the same depth. If you remember, India pushes under this continent. The Himalayas, over millions of years, have pushed up to that height of close to 29,000 feet. But when you have pressure on the Indian continent, it pushes under the continent to the north, under the Nepal area. Again, a lot of people have been hurt today. A lot of people have been killed. I'm sure that in these villages, they're going to find more and more people that are injured, needing first aid, relief, food, water, things like that. It's not very populated, but because the quake was so powerful, the avalanches will be a problem. The aftershocks are still continuing. Now let's look at CERN because they were powering up. Now what they've done is now went to a priority beam dump on both sides. I think they did it because they had a surge in power during the time of these quakes. Now you've got to remember, CERN is 2 hours ahead of the UTC time. The quakes are in universal time, which is about 6 hours ahead of East Coast, but CERN will be 2 hours ahead of that, and they're located on the Franco-Swiss border there. But what they're saying here is it was a post-mortem information. They had a protection dump and a multiple system dump. I'll show you that on their home page. Also, you can see that the only thing that's green on the red side is the setup beam, and they're starting to pre-cycle again. Beam is foreseen around 1830. Again, that would be about 1630 UTC time. Let's look at the timing on the scale. Very important. You're going to see that the black line is beam energy. The red and blue lines are beam 1 and beam 2 intensity. They powered up the beam energy. On the fourth time, they had enough power to let the beams in, and you see what type power spikes they were getting. But notice the fourth spike before the red and blue lines, the beam intensity is picked up. It looks like what happened. The last spike that you see before the blue and red lines, which are the beam intensity, that last black spike was at 8:11. If you notice the timestamp down here, at 8:11 UTC time, that beam spiked. The 7.8 earthquake hit at a 6:11. They're 2 hours difference UTC time and CERN time. It was exactly at the same time. Then you saw how long it took them before they had the priority dumps. You had this many aftershocks. Now they're getting up later this evening to get this thing running again. Guys, there was no major solar activity, no coronal mass ejections. We do have a large solar filament coming around the top left quadrant. We've been watching a few days. But here's your time. As I'm doing the video, you can see it's 6:23 in Geneva, Switzerland. That's where CERN is. Now, universal time, there's 2 hours difference, and that's, if you're looking at the charts on CERN as you go through that, remember it's not using universal time the same way that our USGS does as far as timing these earthquakes. Again, this is universal time, or Greenwich Means times 425. You see the 2 hours difference, and that's what we're dealing with. Guys, I hope these scientists look at this information and tie it together. But I'm on the road again. Excuse the audio. I'm on my laptop, guys. It's a heads up. We'll update. Be safe.